So, getting into the main event, I'm super excited to have tonight Leo Aether. I'm going to read a little bit about him. The Andes, the backbone of the Americas, is the source of life and light for an entire continent. And this is the energy that flows through Leo Aether's music. He fuses South American folk, trova, rock and roll, and poetry. His music journey began in the US as the leader of Urbe Prima, a rock and psychedelia band. And in recent years, Leo has toured through Central and South America as a solo artist under the stage name Leo Aether. And without further ado, I will pass the screen to Leo. Leo, if you could please unmute yourself, and I will spotlight you.
All right. Hello, everybody. How you guys doing today? Happy Saturday. Feliz sábado a todos. Creo que mis padres me están viendo. Un abrazo de corazón. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day, and thank you so much, AIGA Unidos, for not only having invited me, but also putting this wonderful event together. It's really wonderful to be part of this. So yeah, and special thanks to Reina also for not only being one of the main forces behind all of this, but also for inviting me. So thank you so much. All right, well, as I had like that really cool introduction, I am a singer-songwriter from Colombia, and I've definitely been rolling around several years, reinventing myself and always learning and trying to be the best that I can. And so I put together a little presentation for you guys tonight that deals with basically what it's basically taking a slice of life to this last year, and through showing you what I've done, hopefully you can see how important the creative process has been for me, and where I've been able to find an inspiration despite what might be happening, both globally and then personally. So I hope this can be positive for all of you. Even though I am not a designer, I do feel we do have some common ground on the creative process and also on the entrepreneurial spirit. Okay, so I'm gonna kind of be going back and forth between my talk, and then I'm gonna perform some songs for you that are kind of like the soundtrack in my head of some of the things that I'm gonna be talking about. All right. So I am going to go ahead and switch to my presentation. All right. So that's the. I actually want to thank for this wonderful picture to Lacey Vidal. It's just a wonderful creative. So thank you so much for that wonderful shot. So my title of my presentation, as you can see, is Viral Songs, Inspiration in Times of COVID. So first thing I want to do is kind of take a step back to a year ago. So
Leo, can you hear me?
Yes.
We don't see your screen. We see you still.
Okay.
Share your screen. Sorry.
No, thank you. Thank you for this. I'm juggling a couple things here.
No, I get you.
Thank you so much for the support. All right. Share. All right. I think we should be good now. All right. I think that did it. How's that? All right. Are we good now? All right. So I think that should do it. So once again, that wonderful picture. Thank you, Lacey Vidal, for wonderful talent. All right, so I want to start, like I said, I'm going to give you a slice of my life. That sounds kind of weird, but starting a year ago. And the place that I would like to start is with adversity. And I do this because more often than not, I think as an entrepreneur and a creative, I'm pretty sure adversity is as a common force that we all have witnessed and experienced. But just to give you kind of, this is going to be a recurring theme throughout this presentation, so you'll see this word a couple times. So a year ago, where was I? Well, I was kind of between a high and a low. Let's start with the low. So the low was that I have been working with a couple of wonderful musicians that had basically venture off with me basically to tour Central and South America a couple times, and we had a really, really cool thing going. And then, you know, life changes, and then they kind of needed to move on to other projects and things, which is normal in the world of music and in the world of creation. But one of the things that was difficult for me was that I had planned a whole tour around, you know, their contribution, because we had already gone touring to Colombia and Puerto Rico together, and we already kind of had it figured out. And also because I had just come up with a brand new record. And so when they kind of had to drop the ball, it was really close to the tour dates, and it was really hard for me to even think that I could actually pull off all of the tour dates that I had already scheduled and all of the things I had planned. So there's your adversity. So I don't know if you guys have ever been in contact with anything that has to do with musicians and touring, but when you have a full tour lined up and then the musicians that you have all fall through, then that's not an easy position to be in. Okay, I'm not complaining, I'm just trying to give you like a picture. Okay, so despite that, that's how I felt. Even though I had adversity in front of me, you know, what has two thumbs and is still optimistic? That guy, who's me. Why was I optimistic? Well, part of it was that this is not the first time that I've been in this position where everything you plan kind of just flops. But also because the record that I had, I was lucky enough to be able to work with an award-winning engineer and producer on my record, someone who has worked with a lot of the biggest names in classical rock and in the music industry. So I was both happy but also inspired to not give up on the tour, because I wanted to make sure that what we had done got shown to the world. And also, even though my musicians weren't able to participate, I still wanted to represent and honor them with my effort, because they are the musicians that are on the record. So I wanted to show their effort even though they couldn't participate on the tour. But why do you do these things, Leo? And so right about this same time, a year ago, I was at a high because of all these things. I am Colombian, like I said before, and the record campaign that I had for the tour last year was to go to the three main cities in Colombia: Bogotá, Medellin, and Cali. Of course, other cities are also important in Colombia. I'm just saying, like, those are some of the first three that you will try as a musician to go tour. And, you know, for me, it was a very big accomplishment to be able to tour my own country, being that for the best part of, you know, half of my life, I have not been in Colombia. So for me, it was kind of a pretty big deal. And also, this time around, I had planned things much better than in previous times. So I was pretty excited. I was able to bring this brand new record that I had mixed and mastered by an award-winning producer. I was able to tour Colombia. Like I said, it's a pretty big accomplishment if you're an independent entrepreneur / musician, right? Another big accomplishment for me, I know we were talking about this before, is I was able to bring my parents along with me. And this is pretty big for me because, you know, as a creative, sometimes, you know, I guess like one of the talks that's coming up saying a lot of times your parents want you to be a lawyer or a doctor, not like a musician who's nuts or something, right? So being able to bring my parents along in the tour and show them what I do and do stuff like that was very important to me. So I consider it a huge accomplishment in my life. I also was able to apply to be a member for the first time of the Grammy Academy, because since I was working with a Grammy award-winning engineer, and also all of the records that preceded this one gave me enough credentials to do it. I also, in the background, curated a huge music festival, a music and arts festival here in Orlando called Fusion Fest. I also produced and performed at my own festival that I created called Notan Radio, which is a community festival that is a nonprofit that I organized as well. And I also include that I moved because I'm on the top of everything here. I was also moving from a place that I really love to a new adventure with someone I love. So it was really a big thing for me. So this was what's going on at this moment last year. I was able to have been basically somehow able to accomplish all these things despite adversity, right? So you can see here some pictures of the record. You can see me really happy on the top left on my favorite radio station in the whole world promoting my record. Some shots of the shows and some interviews on TV and all that stuff. And again, you can see the joy was genuine there. Also, here's more stuff about the shows in the top left. If you are from Bogota, maybe out there, you know this Aussie bar is a really important bar for up-and-coming artists. You can see all of the dates of my tour there, a lot of stuff going on, a lot of accomplishments from an independent musician. For me, that was pretty big. I put a lot of pictures, so I'm going to continue here. And like I said, one of my biggest accomplishments was to be able to bring my family along. I am where I am. I'm pretty sure a lot of it is because of my parents. So for me to be able to bring them along is a privilege. It's an honor. Also, you can see in the bottom right, if any of you are Hispanic and knows what parques is, or I think they call it parchisi here or something like that. You can see the true champions playing at the bottom right over there. So you can see a little bit of what was going on with me at that time, about a year ago. And so I want to kind of sing a song called Indigo, which is for me representing of the tour. And I think, all right, and then, and also this is a song that means, it's basically just being grateful and joyful and curious about each new day. So this is sort of like an ode to the sunrise, and I call it Indigo. So here goes. I'm gonna go back to the non-presentation screen. All right, so I should be back in there. Here we go. Amaneció devorándonos la luz del cielo y se escribió un silencio con letras de fuego en el umbral de un mirar sin estación, y descubrí mil colores al cerrar los ojos y un candor. Inundó mis ríos ya deshechos, sin cesar me sumergí en tu canción. Canta con versos salvajes, grita como los volcanes, susurrando lo que tu alma me entregó. Un puñado de sol, bocanada de luz, y la arena levitando viento que la de mi ser, un bacán huracán, so recolecté un suspiro que mete un desierto que no encuentra su mar. Un suspiro le roba la luna el resplandor, y la noche la encontró desnuda, divagando, embriagada en índigo. Cuentan que si estás despierto, divagando entre tus sueños, beberás del dulce néctar del amor, o del amor que llevas dentro, que olvidaste en el desierto. Una gema que la arena sepultó, un puñado de sol, bocanada de luz, y la arena levitando viento que la de mi ser, implacable huracán, recolecté un suspiro que metió un desierto que encuentro su mar. Un suspiro le roba la luna el resplandor. All right. Drink a little bit of water here. I hope the sound is good for you guys. All right, so I'm going to continue here back to my presentation for a little quick break here. All right, so that song was called Indigo, one of the colors of the sunrise. So I was really happy to be able to accomplish all of these things, was really grateful. And so after doing the tour in Colombia, I came back to Orlando, Florida. So you can see they're pretty proud of my map abilities in this presentation. So I got those little maps there. You can see that not only was I able to accomplish all of these things with my own project, but I was able to contribute to the community through the Nota Radio Music Fest that I put together. You can see some pictures of some of the events. Also on the bottom right, you can see the Fusion Fest Festival, which is a celebration of diversity in the city. So I was really grateful to be able to be the music curator for that. And then at the same time, I was also playing the Immerse Festival, which is pretty much the biggest festival for the arts and culture in the city of Orlando. So I was very grateful to be able to play there again. And, you know, so I'm contributing to the community and at the same time being able to do my thing. Okay. So after the end of last year, which again, you know, after the adversity, I was able to be on a high. At the beginning of 2020, I had a pretty good idea what I was going to do, and also I had a pretty good prospect of different things. Like I got chosen to play Sunfest and open for Juanes. I'm not sure if any of you know who he is, but he's like a very known and successful Colombian artist. And even though I don't play the same genre or anything, because of the work that preceded me and all the things I've done, they gave me that opportunity specifically because of my work. I also, like I said, I had my Grammy Academy application there. I also booked a trip to Ireland with my girlfriend, and it was a really big deal for me because it was not only her birthday, but also I had never been across the ocean. I've been up and down this continent, but never across the ocean. So for me, it was a pretty big deal. I also have booked a whole East Coast tour for the summer. And I also started a brand new project with an award-winning engineer for a podcast that is actually still going on right now. And yes, I also managed to successfully move. Okay, so it's a running joke I got there. So those are some pictures of like the prospects for 2020, right? Looks great. That's also, you know, I also met Rick Barker, if any of you know who he is a bit known manager. And so me just really happy receiving the 2020 after accomplishing all these things. I was very honored and happy. And so, you know, we start the year, we go as planned, right? We all make plans, right? And we went to Ireland, specifically Dublin. Highly recommend that if we're able to go anywhere after this pandemic. But the Dublin is a wonderful city, and I was really happy, really grateful for all the blessings that I somehow was able to fabricate and get. And then while we were on the plane to Ireland, I wrote this song called Pyro. Okay, and so, you know, with all the things in mind that I have, I also, you know, we were taking a trip and we were starting to hear rumors about this sort of worldwide disease that was really scary. But you know, because of the misinformation, although I'm not going to blame the misinformation, I'll blame myself for not looking for more information. But we were kind of not fully certain of where the, you know, the ghost of the pandemic was. So it was sort of like a very kind of like a risky trip, but we just kind of didn't know. We just booked it without the knowledge, the full knowledge of the situation. And so I wrote this song. This one is in English. This one is brand new, so I hope you guys enjoy it. It's the first time I'm playing this live. So. All right, we're back. Here we go. A number sun that set into my eyes taught me how to fly and how to escape the raging fires of the night. I spread my wings and conquered my way here. Another bout with fear, just to steal a moment from this purple sky. Seems like the script has not been written yet. fist in the air. I'm gonna grasp but give you eyes to your tail. The silver lights that shine into the night are gleaming in your eyes. Could it be true this night was made for you and I? I'll take my chances tonight. A brand new chapter to write. Let's rev it up and take it to the sky. Let 1,000 words collide. Let's go and play with fire. Down in the land of foolish one with pride. Always taken by surprise. Let's go and play with fire. I played the game so I could break the rules. And now I see the truth. This silence driving me insane. I feel the seconds slipping by. Seems like we're running out of time to get away without permission. Come fly beside me tonight. A brand new chapter to write. Let's rev it up and take it to the sky. Let 1,000 words collide. Let's go and play with fire. Down in the land of foolish burn with pride. Always taken by surprise. Let's go and play with fire. Oh, let's play with fire. I played the game so I could break the rules. All right. Cheers, if anybody out there is having a refreshment tonight. I'm having water for now, but cheers anyways. All right, go back to the presentation. I hope you guys are having fun. I know I am. All right, so that's some inspired on all the excitement and fear at the same time that I had at the time. And so, as you know, probably adversity, right? And this is something that didn't happen just to me. I'm pretty sure everyone in the planet Earth is being affected by this right now. It's the global pandemic. I'm not going to go into too much detail about that. I'm pretty sure you've heard enough about that. And so the music industry, especially the live event industry in general, got a really huge hit because of the pandemic. I'm sure most of you are aware. You can play shows, you can play live. I do this so that I could share, like I'm sharing with you, but hopefully with like the people in front of me. So when we heard about the pandemic, we're still in Dublin, and then that was the time when the president of this country decided to close the borders, and so we had to basically do an emergency trip to come back, which was pretty insane. And then we were lucky to be in a place where things were more under control and everything was fine, and we found a way to go back. So back to Orlando. And so as I was landing, as we were landing back in Orlando, I realized that everything I do not only my role as a musician and singer-songwriter playing events, but also all the things that I do for the community. They're with people, right? And so all of the things that I do basically cannot be done anymore. And so it was really a time of, I basically spent like 1 or 2 weeks pondering what I was going to do. I definitely was very reluctant to play shows like this because I prefer to play in front of people. I didn't like to, play on phones or whatever. So I had to basically reevaluate everything. And what gave me courage to keep going was that I wanna just play and sing my songs, and I do it here in my home, and I would do it anyway. So if I put a camera in front of me, and there are some people out there who can get some positive energy from it, then why not, right? So all of a sudden, I started seeing hope. I was also out of nowhere contacted by a manager from Colombia, someone who I knew from the industry from the times that I went on tour there, someone who is held in high respect in the industry and someone I respect. And he contacted me to be my manager to start promoting me, which was crazy. Out of dropping everything to the ground, then I start sort of reassessing how I do things. And because I adapted really fast, then this person reached out to me, and then things started kind of taking a different shape, but I was able to work. So hope came up. And then I think the soundtrack for this moment is the song Rayo de Luz, which means ray of light, which is about hope, basically. And so this is the song I'll be singing next. All right, back. If you were coming in earlier today, you probably heard some of this song. In this song specifically, I did a lot of Andean sounds, so this is definitely a song that exemplifies a lot of the fusion that I do, even though I mainly play rock and roll and write poetry in my head. I love the sounds from the Andes and La Sierra, so this is pretty big for me, so I hope you guys enjoy it. De luz fluye dentro de mi ser y se va por la cordillera, el cielo y el mar y se disipan en tu luz y mi amor romper las barreras. Y la adversidad quiso derrotarme y no me vencí para liberarme. Dime, gorrión, si mi voz era la dura puñal para despertarme. Un par de manos fabricando el viento del huracán, y allá en la cima de la loma un trueno que es mi verdad. Y un par de manos fabricando el viento del huracán, y allá en la cima de la loma. Y aunque seas de mi voz, ya miedo, vida, rencor, yo le pondré el corazón sin evitar el dolor. Y aunque seas de mi voz, ya miedo, vida, rencor, yo le pondré el corazón. Un rayo de luz fluye dentro de mi ser y se va por la cordillera, un juego de azar nos vistió de vida universal, bautizó la primavera. Dime, flor del campo, ¿cuál es la canción del rocío? Dime si al amanecer su aliento extraña me abrió. De manos fabricando el viento del huracán, y allá en la cima de la loma un trueno que es mi verdad, y un par de manos fabricando el viento del huracán, y allá en la cima de la loma. Y aunque seas de mi voz y el miedo vida rencor, yo le pongo el corazón sin evitar el dolor. Y aunque seas de mi voz y el miedo vida rencor, yo le pongo el corazón. Y si la luna se va, se pierde en la inmensidad, como el sol le de brillar para encontrarla. Y aunque sigas de mi voz y el miedo pida rencor, yo le pongo el corazón. Un poquito de esperanza para todos. Okay, so yes, so I started little by little finding hope and work throughout the situation. And like, I guess, again, you know, as usual, I feel like one of the biggest things is that this specific situation gave a hit to an industry that is used to reinventing itself every time something happens. If you work in the music industry or the show industry, you know that there's always adversity, so you adjust. But to see what happened with the pandemic was pretty kind of demoralizing, to see so many people just not being able to find a way to keep going. So for me to be able to find a way to work and to produce content and to keep going was a blessing again, you know. And so working with this manager, I was able to play a lot of important festivals that, you know, the industry started morphing. And so once again, a lot of people started getting together to create a lot of virtual festivals all across the continent and across the world. And with my manager, with the help of my manager, I was able to get a lot of really good press. So you can see some of the pictures there. If some of you know who Enrique Bumburi is, in the top right, you can see just being in the same publication with him. I was very, very honored and happy. Also, like I said, I play a lot of virtual festivals that were really important. And even the Sunfest festival that I was going to open for Juanes and it didn't happen, they really liked my work. So they invited me to do like a virtual piece for, you know, to just kind of keep their social media going and to showcase some of the emerging artists. So. And so, you know, things were going again, starting to take shape again, and I was very grateful to be able to, like I said, be fully busy working on my project. And also, you know, that was something that was very important to me, because I am not a very good person at staying in close quarters for too long. So with a pandemic where you cannot really or should not really go outside, so that you minimize the impact of the situation, I was very lucky to be able to have work. But then adversity happened. Now I am not going to divulge the details of this because it's very personal, but let's just say that the pandemic and life and sickness started taking a toll on many people that we loved, and several people close to us passed away. And 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 it's just the hardest thing to do is to be in the room by yourself, uh, and think that, you know, feel completely helpless, or being able, in my case, feeling that I could not contribute anything, that I could not help the person and the people who were trying to save others. It made me feel, in a micro and a personal level, very sad, and also in a macro level, to see all of the healthcare professionals trying to help everyone and many people just fading away. So it was really tough. And so, what do you do, right? So for me, I started realizing that what maybe sometimes what we do as creatives is to try to heal our own wounds and the wounds of others through what we do. And I think that for me, um, even though I've seen it many times in my life, in this time it was of utmost importance for me to continue to write new material, to create more, to keep singing, to keep playing. And so that was the best that I could do, and so that's what I did. Um, in a day that was very tough, I had one of the projects that I had pending was the release of the first music video from the new record that I had released, and I I released it even though it was a really tough day, because like again, I said that the only thing I could do is keep working and keep doing my thing to honor those people who have given everything for us, you know. And so that's what I did. That's a little bit of the video campaign. And I continue working. These are pictures of the team on the right hand side. You can see the team that is involved, a set of guys who are really wonderful and really great professionals that helped me put together the Real to Real podcast, where we interview people from the music industry. And so that's a really wonderful project also. And so to kind of, I know that we're probably getting close to time. So after I play the song, you guys let me know how much time I have left. But I started writing pretty diligently. And like I said, a lot of this was so that I could offer my light from my heart, from my spirit, in these moments that I'm pretty sure are difficult, not only for me and my personal life and for people who I hold so close and I love so much, and they have lost people whom they love, but I'm pretty sure for everyone right now at this moment. So I wrote a whole record already that I'm going to start releasing one song a month, starting in October. And this song that I wrote, called Pandemia, is the very first of the batch. So like I said, this is what I can contribute and offer, and I hope that this presentation and these songs and what I'm doing can give you some light. And I guess the most important thing for me, I guess with this talk, is to show you that it is really putting yourself on the line and doing what you believe in your heart to be right, and confronting adversity that really helps you in so many ways, that even though it's difficult, is where all the material, all the fabric for the creative process can come from. I have always found it in the path of my life. So this is a little bit of it. This song is called Pandemia. I guess it's pretty obvious what it is about. It's sort of like an introspective take on this. So I hope you guys like it. I'll comment something about the song once I'm done. to switch my screen, right? Sorry about that. I just realized that. Going back again. Los nombres que llevan los días los voy olvidando. Y arañas que atrapan secretos han ido trenzando. Ahorcado entre cuatro paredes, me voy confesando. ¿Será que al mirarme al espejo me voy desdoblando? Sediento y pálido de abrazos cálidos, en mi trance algo falta, si me faltas tú. Quiero escapar, correr hasta perderme en la ciudad. Un perro callejero suelto y que nadie me pueda parar. Un perro callejero perplejo en mi trance, algo falta. Si me faltas, aquí distraído por nada, no puedo escapar. Pandemia y memorias fantasmas, su realidad. Saber que esta hambre no es falsa, respirar. Sentir que esta hambre no es falsa, necesito más. Canales cósmicos, espejos míticos, el agua que inunda me arrastra, si me faltas tú. Quiero escapar, correr hasta perderme en la ciudad. Un perro callejero suelto y que nadie me pueda parar. Un perro callejero, el agua que inunda me arrastra y me faltas tú. Dejo en mi trance algo faltas, si me faltas tú. Quiero escapar, correr hasta perderme en la ciudad. Un perro callejero suelto y que nadie me pueda parar. Un perro callejero, dejo en mi trance algo falta, si me faltas tú. All right, guys, that is all I have. The last message I want to leave you with is this. Despite adversity, we keep going to honor those who gave everything. Thank you so much, you guys. Thank you. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you so
Saludos,
much.
Ma. Thank you.
Let me share my screen.
Saludos a mis padres. Gracias por estar aquí.
Okay, I think I'm sharing my screen. Yep. So we thank you so much, Leo, again. I mean, it's always great to listen to music live, but also your music live, it's just different. And I'm glad we can share this moment, even though we're, a screen away.
Yes.
So maybe having this presentation might be awkward, but we have some questions for you.
Yes.
I'm actually going to keep sharing. Sorry, give me 1 second. Okay.
All right.
Okay, so I have some questions for you. Let me see where I'm gonna start. So you mentioned at one point in your presentation, Bunburi, which like no big deal. So would you share with us some of your biggest musical inspirations and influences?
Well, I'm kind of very open to listen to a lot of stuff, but I think what's closest to my heart, in general, all of the trova of Central and South America is pretty big for me, because it's like the simplest kind of music. You just have a guitar and a voice and your spirit, and you just sing it. So that's kind of a pretty big influence for me. Um, Specific bands, I could list a lot of them. Some of them in Spanish, some of the most prominent, probably Caifanes. I love Caifanes. I love Lucibel from Chile. I love Zoe, of course, from Mexico. Those are like the three that first jump to my head. And obviously, I really respect and love the music from Bumburi. But yeah, and then in English, I mean, the list is pretty huge. I don't want to bore you with all the details, but yeah, Incubus, Radiohead are pretty big for me. And the newer kind of bands, I really like Arctic Monkeys. I don't know, I dug those, and the Strokes.
Nice. I love the whole list.
Thank you.
So, let me see. So you mentioned both influences and artists that you're inspired by, influenced by in Spanish and in English. So let's go a little bit into your own process. Can you talk about your process in terms of, being bilingual and writing, in both languages? Is it, one you prefer, or, maybe, one language lends itself to something that the other one doesn't, and all of that? If you can tell us a little bit.
Yeah, I think you said it very eloquently. The way that I think about the languages is kind of like the best metaphor that I come up with or comparison is that for me, a different language is like a different instrument. So like sometimes you use the acoustic guitar, sometimes you use the keyboard, sometimes you use the electric guitar or the Tele or the Strat or whatever. So that's kind of how I feel. Maybe it's because culturally, I lack the full eloquence to say certain things in English that I would say in Spanish. I've found out through very eloquent native speakers that sometimes when I translate things from like Spanish to English, it just sounds like I'm a serial killer, apparently. Because I think we in Spanish say things with a certain passion in a certain way that if you translate that, it just doesn't make any sense in English and probably just get flagged by the FBI or something. But yes, I feel like it's a completely different mindset. I no longer think like in terms of Spanish when I'm speaking English, because I've been lucky enough to be exposed to the language long enough. But yeah, I feel like it's a different process, and I always have to, when I write in English specifically, I have to check with native speakers just to make sure that I'm not being taken out of context. And yeah, in Spanish, I know that you recently mentioned that we released this book together 5 years ago. So I don't know. I arrogantly can say that I feel pretty comfortable writing in Spanish. So that's different.
Awesome. So can you tell us a little bit about your songwriting and music production processes? As you know, we usually have visual creatives or creatives that focus on visuals, whether are illustrators, designers. But I think we are all really interested in seeing the creative process of other artists, regardless of what their medium is. So if you can talk a little bit about your songwriting and your production process as well.
Yeah, no, I agree with what you said. I mean, that's part of how I came to know the AIGA is because you guys put events that are interesting to me as both as an entrepreneur and as a creative, even though we don't use the same tools, I guess, for communication. But well, I mean, production-wise, I've been lucky enough to surround myself with a lot of professionals of what I consider high caliber. So I have a lot of people that I can work with. In the current condition, like a lot of the new material that's going to come out is going to be mostly recorded at home because that's kind of what it is, and I feel confident about it, not only because I've gone to school for music production and I know what I'm doing, but also because I've already done a full record at home and it came out pretty good. So I feel like it's going to be a combination of studio work, mostly for vocals, but a lot of the other stuff is going to be done at home. But also, I am actually working with other musicians that remotely will collaborate with me in the recording process. So I'm doing that currently, actually. So it's basically just a collaboration, a distant collaboration.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, and that's also kind of like the same spirit behind AIGA Unidos, that we've been kind of forced to inhabit this virtual space, and at the same time it has its difficulties and its barriers, but it's also opening up the fact that we can work with people across the globe. We can have guests from anywhere. So
Yes.
It's exciting to see how the things that we can build now that we're all in our little rectangle.
Yeah, with these new chips for the new game, we'll see what place we can come up with.
Yeah, exactly. So okay. How many instruments do you play?
Well, my voice is the one that I focus on the most, but I play anything that has strings for the most part, and I can pluck or strum, except for the banjo. I can also, I dabble with the violin mostly for ear training and for out of stubbornness. I play keyboards, piano. I can, a lot of times I want to play piano when I'm singing, but it's hard to bring a piano to location a lot of times. And probably my greatest, I couldn't, or I haven't devoted as much time to, is I would like to be fluent on drums. I can keep a beat, but I'm not like skilled on drums. But that's because most of my focus goes into my vocals. So no brass though, no brass.
No? Is it because you're not interested, or you haven't had the time to?
I feel like it's one of the hardest type of instrument to play, and I feel like you have to really have someone train you to Also is very loud and neighbors don't like that.
Yeah, I don't think, like trombone is not a very casual instrument. It's not like on a whim. I'm just gonna grab this trombone that I have laying around the house.
Yeah, you can stop traffic with that. So yeah.
Yeah. um, let's see. Okay. Ooh, okay. So a big part of your presentation was about sharing your story of being on the road, and everything that comes with it. Are there any funny stories from being on the road that you're willing to share with us? Funny,
Uh,
weird encounters.
wow. I actually have a lot of stories, but to rescue from what I actually show you in the presentation. Um, that because of the thing where my musicians that I had set up the tour with kind of like changed their mind. I had to basically improvise a band in like 2 weeks, and it's one of those things where your adaptation and your ability to reinvent yourself on the spot goes to the test. I also think that that's one of the coolest things that happened in this tour, is that to put myself to the test in every way. Not only like going to interviews every day and rehearsing every day and playing a show every day, but being very disciplined and understanding that if you want to do this for a living, you have to be very disciplined. It's not like you after each show you have a party every night. It's not like that at all. A lot of times the musicians I go were like, "Oh, aren't you going to have a beer with us?" It's like, no, because tomorrow I want to do better than I did today, and the only way I can do that is having a good night of sleep. But also the musicians that I found, they pretty much they did a really good job, learned the record out of nowhere in 2 weeks, and we met, and we had instant chemistry, and then we had to, as the tour went on, we became better and better. But that was pretty just kind of like, wow, we had to sort of improvise a band out of nowhere. Also, I was very surprised and very happy to kind of have my parents being like my right hand with logistics, even though I did have a manager and logistics were figured out. But like when you're on site, there are things that just happen and you have to figure them out. So my parents are super sharp, so I was really grateful to actually have them there. So
That's awesome. Um,
yeah.
so, I mean, I think it's pretty obvious that um, music is ingrained in your life in every aspect of it. But if your career wasn't based around music, what do you think you would be doing right now?
Um, well, for the feedback that I've gotten from a lot of people, like you said, because of all the things that I do are for like my project, I've been able to work with a lot of people in different fields. You included. I've worked with people on film, on on the arts, on even at government level, because of the logistics of some of the events that I'm either participating or in charge of. I think I am very good, and probably inherited this from my old man. Very good at logistics in general. So I think any kind of production work of any type, I think I could be pretty decent at it. I also, one of my first loves with art was, before I was allowed to sing, I guess, I used to draw a lot. So I really like drawing. So probably doing some sort of production, maybe running an ad agency. I don't know. I have no
That's
idea.
awesome. And I think,
Yeah.
I guess it's, I don't know what the word is, like just coming clean. We have been friends for, I don't know, like 15 years. I think we said that this year we were going to have our quinceañera party.
Yes.
Because, yeah, it's been 15 years of friendship. And ever, since I met you, you've always been kind of like a wrangler of people. So I definitely see you as some sort of like logistics, manager, production person. And I mean, it is part of what you do. So totally
Yeah.
fits.
Yeah.
Uh,
So if I wasn't a performer, I'd probably be part of the production. Yeah.
yeah, that's awesome. Um, So, uh, if well, I don't know if I'm gonna limit you to this, but it's like if you could open a show for any artist, or if you had any artist of your choosing opening for you, who would they be?
Wow. I think I have sort of an artistic platonic love with Anna Tijoux.
Yeah.
I really respect her, not only because of what she does as an artist, but because of what she stands for. I think that I have the almost respect for artists that, art is an expression at any level of what you are, of who you are. But like, I also appreciate when people use the platform that they have as an artist to address the things that maybe are not as easy to talk about. Because, like I said, I feel like part of what we do is healing, and I think part of healing is saying the truth. And I feel like it's cool. I love that there's a moment to have joy and to dance and to, express yourself. But also feel like there's a moment to say what's happening. And I feel like artists like Anna are, also the reason I kind of think about her first is just because I've been doing a lot of fusion stuff. I produced several hip hop tracks for my best friend in Colombia. He's a hip hop artist in Colombia, and so I've delved into hip hop as well. So it's just kind of like there's some common ground there for me because of the power of words. So I feel like, yeah. And as far as bands, I mean, man, I wish I could play with like some of the artists that I listed already. I mean, yeah, I mean, if I could play with like Zoe or Lucibel or Café Tacuba, like, I mean, there's so many wonderful, yeah, the list will be too big for me to list. It'll be like a Lollapalooza, more like.
Yeah, I'll go to that festival for sure. That's awesome. And I guess just to kind of like close off this Q&A section, what are some of your long-term goals as a musician, and also what's next for you?
Cool. Well, obviously, right now it's pretty uncertain for a lot of us in the industry. So I think definitely, I think one of the things that keeps me coming back to music, other than, the love that I have for singing and writing, and maybe I'm not a masochist, but I love that when you're put to the test and you have to reinvent yourself. I love that. Um, and I think that part of what's happening right now, the reason why I have been able to find ways to work is because of that. Because as soon as I find a challenge, it just kind of brings the best out of me. Like it makes me, I don't know, like a spark, sparks me to invent something. And so I feel like the integration of this virtual space into what we already were used to for live events, I think that's a very interesting aspect that I definitely feel like I want to explore. And also because it's convenient for me as an entrepreneur. Um, the first immediate thing I have is, like I said, I will be releasing like the music that I've written throughout this period. I'm going to be releasing at least a single a month starting in October. So is what's immediately after for me. And then I've been working hand in hand with my manager in Colombia to really start developing like a more prominent presence in the Colombian music market. So that's kind of what I see immediately in my professional future. But yeah, definitely just trying to figure out what this new, like you're saying, that this new puzzle, like how can we still have, if partially, some of the wonderful things that we took for granted, while at the same time taking advantage of this new set of conditions, So.
Yeah, I think it is kind of the time for reinvention. So
Yeah.
yeah, thank you so much, Liam. Let me.
No, thank you, Reina, and thank you, AIGA Unidos, and thank you for the audience who was there tonight. Thank you so much for taking time out of your life to hanging out with me. That was pretty awesome.
So again, please support Leo Aether. On the screen, you see his handles for Instagram, Twitter, web, and also his Cash App. We will be dropping all links for him in the chat, so please follow him everywhere. Also, very graciously, Leo created a Spotify playlist for the AIGA Unidos Spotify account. So please follow us there, follow Leo, listen to all his music. It's truly amazing, and I'm super not biased about it. And
Thank you.
and again, we have our full schedule of events in AIGAUnidos.com. We are just finishing our second week of our 5 weeks for the Hispanic Heritage Talks 2020. So you can find more about all the presenters and all the events that we have, including the schedule. Also, please follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and all the social medias to just keep up with what we're doing. We have some exciting things coming up. And again, thank you so much for spending this Saturday evening with us. We truly thrive on the feedback from all of our attendees, and hopefully that's going to be shaping what's next for AIGA Unidos. So please fill out our survey. Tell us how we did. Tell us how we can improve. Who do you want to see? We also have a form on our website in AIGAUnidos.com for you to fill out if you want to be a contributor. We would love, again, collaboration is the spirit of Unidos, and we want to collaborate with you. So with that said, I can go Spotify and play us out with your music, or Leo, since you're there and I see a guitar next to you, do you want us to give us a little encore as we leave tonight?
Sure, yeah, I can do that, definitely.
And again, everyone, thank you so much for spending the evening with us. And we hope, in the chat, Dio is like, encore, encore, encore.
Thank you.
We hope to see everyone at our next events. Remember that all of our events are free of charge and open to the public. And we were only able to do it because of our generous speakers that are donating their time, sharing with us their stories and their talents. So thank you so much. All yours, Leo.
All right, thank you again. Of course, you asked me to make more noise. Of course, I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna sing this song. It's part of. It's not one of the new ones that I wrote and that are gonna come out, but it's a part of my latest record, and it's basically a song about going to a bar and getting in trouble. So I hope you guys like it, and be careful and don't get in trouble in bars. Hoy me voy a beber. Hoy no me importa volver, pues no hay remedio a este veneno. Y voy a apostar a perder hasta ganar. Hoy yo vengo a pelear. Hoy no me iré hasta sangrar, pondré mi vida toda en la línea y no me echaré a correr y he de llorar. Vueltas y vueltas en este planeta y no estás. Te me vas, tengo suelta la rienda, un diablo en la senda del fuego. De su verdad, de su verdad. Soy mi instinto animal. Grito que no va a callar, y aunque me pierda la vida entera, no me echaré hacia atrás. Oh, vueltas y vueltas en este planeta y no estás. Te me vas, tengo suelta la rienda, un diablo en la senda del fuego. De su verdad, y que sea esta copa mi cómplice de esta cantina, hasta encontrar una señal. Y que lluevan y lluevan las lanzas de mil tempestades, aún así continuaré. Vueltas y vueltas en este planeta y no estás, y te me vas. Gracias muchachos, gracias por escuchar. Los quiero mucho, pa, ma, los quiero mucho, cuídense. Thank you guys. Daisy, I love you. Thank you. Thank you, Renita. Thank you guys.
Thank you everyone for coming. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.